Back with episode 2 of the Infernoid ladder climb, and today we are starting in Diamond 4, and we have won the dice roll and have elected to go first. I have several options here. I can normal summon Snake Eye Ash and try to do combo, in which case I can then also use Banishment to search for Void Feast. I could also use Abomination's Prison to search for Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, so I could summon the Rikea on my opponent's turn, should they just like break through and attack me. My alternative was to normal summon Rikea, set Abomination's Prison, and then pop it to try and summon from the deck. If they Ash or if they imperm the Rikea, then that stops me there. Also would give me a follow-up there. That might have been a better start. Alternatively, I also could have let's see, activated afterwards I could have activated the Chamber to grab Shavara and discard it for Banishment. I figured I'd go for the bigger play, because this is effectively what wound up happening. I just don't have Rikea on field, so this, in a way, is worse, because Rikea on field is probably a lot safer than having Snake Eye Ash stuck on field, but then I couldn't have used the Snake Eye Ash. I was just trying to get, like, max value out of my cards here. So my opponent's going to open Duster, and obviously I'm going to respond to Duster by activating the Feast, summon 3 guys out of the deck. And my opponent activates Dominus Impulse, which, you know, stops most plays I had anyway. So I'm going to be able to summon from deck now off of the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, which can get me... I can't get my Rikea because my Rikea is in my hand. Rikea is the one that pops apart on demand. So now what am I summoning from the deck? I don't really want to summon any of these. Aruha is like probably the safest of these, because if Aruha gets destroyed by a battle, it can then summon from the deck Sarama for a follow-up, or I could summon from the deck. Well, just to clarify, my opponent didn't screw up. The big screw-up play that Tenpai makes against Unchained is that they attack into one of the twins, and they only have 1 tuner on the field, and then you just summon Abomination and then discard a card to destroy it, and then they can't kill you without a tuner because they can't do any sync or something. Alright, so we're going first again. We're going to set a card. We just set Dark Ruler because we don't really have much of a play. But because we opened the Abom, we can just summon it from the hand because we destroyed a card. So we went -1 in order to do this play, but we had no play if we didn't do this, so let's see what we can do. We're going to link off into Yama and use Yama to search and Shavara to set. Now, to play around Ash, you almost always do Yama Chainlink 1 and Shavara Chainlink 2. The problem with this play is this plays into, like, you know, Meister plus Imperm. Not that anyone's really on Meister, but it is always a concern. We have Ash and Maxi, which of course are the best hand traps. And we are going to get the set of cards. The question becomes, do we set Chamber to ensure we can get a play next turn? Or do we set Escape to make sure our opponent doesn't kill us? And I go for Chamber. Because in this case... if they out the under Maxi, they might not try to, like, go too far. Now, I don't really want to lose to Fenrir at this point, so I'm just hoping they don't have Fenrir, or way to Fenrir. I often try to start off with Ash before Maxi, so if they're going to waste their called buys or their crossouts, that they're going to use it on the Ash so the Maxi resolves, and not every deck can just kill you out of nowhere. So our opponent played Crossout for the Ash, so they're going to resolve their Wraiths off to summon, to search a card. Will they get Fenrir? Will they get Unicorn? Now they went for Unicorn. The only trap I have in the graveyard is the Chamber. We've drawn 1 card so far. And now that we've drawn a card, the Abominable Unchained Soul is a live card. So since they searched for Unicorn, their Unicorn has to do something. Now, I make the choice to put the Abomination in defense, which could be a problem. So I'm going to pop Unicorn and hope they don't have Birth. But it turns out they had Fenrir. So in this case, Fenrir can search eat another Unicorn, but Unicorn by itself doesn't really do anything because they can't summon it at the moment unless they have Birth. But by putting this Abomination in defense, I play into them having Fenrir, so now they get to attack over both. They get to banish the Yama and attack over the Unchained Soul, where if I put it in attack position, they would have to attack the Yama and banish the Unchained Soul, putting the Yama in the graveyard, or they would have to and let the Fenrir die, but then they could like summon the Unicorn and get birth. So in a way, maybe it worked out better for me. We drew the best draw on our deck, Poplar. Didn't make sense to summon, because if we summon Poplar and set original, they just banish it. They set cards, they could be things like Macrocosmos. We draw Imagination with only one Infernoid, which doesn't do anything, but at least it's a card to send off of the original, so now summoning Poplar is less silly. I still only have 2 Infernoids. I have an Oku Engrave, which was discarded off the Abom. And now we can just activate Imagination and try to summon from deck. Either Decatron or Snake Eye Ash. Our opponent, of course, decides that now is the time to flip over the anti-spell. So obviously I was going to lose an anti-spell regardless of what I did. But if they have a card that can, like, what do you call it? If they have a card that can remove the anti-spell, I just lose the game, so I didn't bother to wait. And currently we're on our rank down game. Alright, so let's see what we can do. We opened, we're going second. So we're almost 50-50 again on our record. Our opponent opened Fenrir. We have Dark Ruler, which breaks most boards. We have Imagination if they actually went to the extra deck. They're on Kashtira, or in this case, it looks like Tear Lament, because Tear Cash isn't generally played in a regular Cash deck. There's no real reason to play Tear Cash in a Cash deck over I think, Scareclaw Cash, because not really trying to mill. I mean, if you're playing one Tear Cash and one Scareclaw Cash, I could see both of those in a Tear deck. I mean, in a Kashtira deck. So they discarded, I guess they didn't have a normal summon, so they discarded the Tear Cash to get some mills, and then normal summon Lurie, and they're going to go into Requiem. I'm trying to edit these so they don't run super slow, so occasionally I may have edited the duel part of the video. I do that separately, and I might, like, just have the sequence of the Fenrir, of the Fiendsmith card just go a lot faster. I don't know if I started yet in this video. Alright, so our opponent started with, I forget if they started with track to get Valuri, or if they just milled off the Engraver, but they're just going to activate Engraver and Graveyard. So now they can make Caesar, or in this case they're using track, they're going to fuse into probably Lacrima. Lacrima can then bring back the Engraver. I find a lot of people are really bad at managing exactly how many Light Fiends are in their graveyards. Sometimes they go for, like, their sequence, and all they can do is fuse into a Lacrima with nothing to revive from the graveyard. Like, in some cases, people bring the Engraver back to hand here to search for track, so they put another Light Fiend Engrave, but this case they started with that, so it doesn't make sense. So our opponent is on Beatrice. This is at the very end of when Beatrice was legal, so again, this might have been like April 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that, when this was being played. So since they are on tier, they're going to send Havnus will fuse. And considering I have a board breaker and some powerful spells, there's a good chance I can do something through their board, so I'm not, like, rushing out. This is also a rank down game, so I don't really want to be ranking down here. So I have to make some effort to play through to avoid the rank down. So, you know, already it's like it'd be the third game in a row to lose if I lose it. So, it is what it is after just starting a new rank. I don't know if there was much I could have done differently in the Kashtira game. It looked like I might have been able to do more in the first match of this video, where I could have started with the Rakea, so at least I could have made some sort of, like, play with Abomination's Prison and Rakea. Maybe I could have baited out the Dominance Impulse at that time. So, opponent is fusion summoning for Rokelos, and they're setting a card. So that seems like the end of a turn. So they have Beatrice to fuse, and they have Rokelos to negate a special summon effect. So the goal here is to bait out as much as possible. Like, they probably think it's okay to, like, get Dark Rulered if they had Prime, because they can still, like, Prime my big spells. So I'm going to go into Imagination, because, like, they're tier decks, so they milled cards, so, like, Grass is, like, a good idea on where to go. And I could Bonfire for, like, Ash or Oak before I Grass, but I might want to, like, see what I can mill before I decide what I get. So we're going to fuse for Tierra, using 6 names. I almost always go for Tierra over Evil because it guarantees 6 monsters on the Fusion Summon, and the Fusion Summon went through. I don't know if Evil would go through on its effect. So Tierra's hit the board. We'll try to mill 3 cards in the extra. Now they have Hit Pelos in their extra deck, so if they mill 3, that could be bad for me. They could also mill like Garura and draw a card. So this was like a questionable play, whether I should bother to activate it, but in this case it baited out an Imperm unintentionally. Let's see what we can do through here. So now with Bonfire, because they haven't activated a monster effect, I believe they have Lacrima under the Beatrice, and I think I'm going to try and force the Thrust to be live by attacking over the Beatrice at some point. So we Bonfire for Poplar for its summon, and then we can search original. And now we have 2 monsters. Like, one of the other problems with Tierra is that it's a level 11, so you can't summon the other Infernoids if you go into Tierra, so there are some reasons to go into Evil to start off. But if Tierra resolves, it dumps Evil, and then Evil searches Imagination, and you can remove the level lock. Alright, so I'm going to activate Original, sending Poplar. This is also questionable. Like, I probably shouldn't have sent Poplar. I should probably just send a Tierra to ensure I can summon something out of the graveyard without needing to get to Imagination. Because, like, if they Ash that, not that they had Ash, but if they had Ash there, I'm just, like, stuck on Tierra, and I don't have a way to get rid of my Tierra. So I've already normal summoned Ash. Oh, no, I didn't normal summon. So I guess I could normal summon and out it. So there it was. I guess there was something behind it. Also, when I summon the Tierra, I often, like, send, like, 1 Decatron, just to make sure there's, like, a card to revive off of the Yama or Oak. Alright, so they're going to Imperm the Snake Eye Oak, and as a goof, I decided it'd be funny to put the Poplar in the Imperm column and my Requiem in the Imperm column. All those cards that just, they don't activate from the columns, I just like put them in the column because I think it's funny. So we're going to go into Moon of the Closed Heaven and into Requiem, and then Requiem will go into Engraver. I'll put Requiem in the other Imperm column, and then I can't use the wrong column. Oh, yeah, I remember that's what I do. I'm going to use Requiem to send the Beatrice to the graveyard to trigger their Lacrima to turn on my Thrust. And, again, since these are recordings and not replays, I actually can't check the current, like, card deficit in our decks to see if grass is, like, worth doing. Because I did send, like, 6 monsters from my graveyard, so that's, like, one of the problems with going for Tierra. Like, I remove a lot of my good hits from my mill, but if I'm milling cards with grass, it's often more to, like, what do you call it? It's to, like, mill, like, Fairy Tale Snow, things like that. And in this case, like, I already had Bonfire, so, like, Bonfire would be, like, an alternative search, or, I'm already into the Fiendsmith engine, so Tract is not worth doing. So we're going to mill a ton of cards. I saw some Infernoids. So we have the 4 that were milled initially, so things I try not to banish are anything that could be summoned from the graveyard, so Sights Moss and Anoku Deviati. Tierra I try not to banish as well, because Tierra could be summoned off of Yama, which is just like the big damage card, or the big number card, depending on the situation. Now, I definitely milled Sajet. One of the things you can do is you could fuse the Sajet back into the deck to turn on the turn on Feast. I didn't quite catch at this point if I milled the Feast, but I am against Tier, so all I have to do is set up some DD Crows after clearing their board, and I should win the game, because they don't have, they didn't hit the Millers, and they didn't hit their Fairy Tale Snow. Alright, so we're going to use Aerial Eater to dump Sharvara, and Aerial Eater is, like, been pretty good in my build so far, because it gets to dump Sharvara and then add Sharvara, or Aruha. Off, like, 1 setup combo. So you set up Sequence gets Aerial Eater dump Sharvara, and then you can just use those 2 cards and go into Yama, or Promethean Princess. Princess gets Decatron back if you have Infernoids engraved, and if you don't have Infernoids engraved, you go to Yama, and then Yama searches Aruha, and then Aruha can pop the set trap off of the Sharvara. Alright, so I go for Harmodic, which is one of the... I also try not to mill the Petrulas and the... I try not to mill the Petrulas and the Harmodic, because I want them to be things that my Decatrons can get pushed through boards. Like, if I'm trying to set a Feast combo, then you try to, like, leave... What do you call it? Alright, so our opponent saw the writing on the wall. So we've avoided rank down at this point. So can we go on, like, a 4-0 run to try and not have to deal with rank down again? we are going first again. We have Engraver, Fairy Tale Snow, Aruha, Maxi, and Lurie. So, so our opponent has the Ash for our Engraver, but we already have a Light Fiend that we can put on the board, but by itself it doesn't do anything. So I'm going to go into Requiem. Requiem will probably summon Engraver. Engraver will probably attach to Requiem, and then I can use Aruha to summon. Oh, I could put back now. Yeah. Some of the cooler things you can do in this deck is to... Like, I don't know if it made sense for me to do that there. I want to make sure I get 2 bodies on the board, so my opponent has to, like, consider sequences coming down. Like here, if they ash that, I mean, they already ashed me, so I guess that wasn't happening. But now I have 2 bodies and enough Light Fiends and Grave to do my Aerial Eater play. So currently, I have access to, like, the full Unchained combo, because Aruha's already in hand, so... Like, if in my hand Shrevara was here, this would be better, because Shrevara can then, like, allow me to dodge a shot on my sequence if they try to Imperm or Valor it. Oh, they have Dominus, so... Alright, it doesn't look like I'm doing much. So the question becomes, like, what do you do to protect yourself here? So... Oh, did win that. Okay, so we're 9-7 now. So I'm going to summon the Aruha just because it's like a floater for defense, so... I don't really want to, like, end on something else. Now, one of the things I have to stop doing is summoning the Aruha in defense position, because some of the Tenpai cards that they're going to play have 1500 attack, so when they attack into the Aruha, it doesn't die by battle, and sometimes I really need it to die by battle. So if I put it in attack mode, it can die by battle at times that are better for me, and then I'll be able to summon the Abominable and pitch to destroy the tuner at a better moment. Now here, I don't think it matters. I think they have like enough stuff to go into, what do you call it? The Transcendent before even entering the battle phase, so there wasn't anything to do. But I played it out just to, like, see if they were going to mess up, and they did not. So we're 9-8 now. Alright, so we win the dice roll. So getting to Master 1 in Master Duel is not that hard. You just have to be above 50% as a win rate. But technically you could be, like, just under 50% win rate also, because when you go to, like, the bottom of each rank, you have to lose, like, twice before you get the rank down threat, so you can lose a little bit more than you win to stay in the ranks. So we're going to start with Engraver. Engraver, search for Tract. Tract is going to search and dump Lurie. I'm trying to convince myself to stop trying other plays before doing this and just playing into Bystials now. Bystials were being played pretty heavily against Fiendsmith decks for a bit, so you might want to at least make sure you get a Light Fiend on the graveyard. One of the things that backfires against my opponents a lot is they use the Bystials to try and banish, like, one of the Fiendsmith cards from the graveyard to make my sequence be unable to fusion summon, like, what do you call it? Desiree? But I'm going for Aerial Eater, so usually when they go to banish one, it doesn't do anything. Now, in this case, I can hard summon Infernoid Evil, so I'm probably just going to fusion summon for Aerial Eater and dump Shrevara. So I'm just going to try and make all these plays before summoning the Decatron. The other thing I can do is I can normal summon the Decatron or the Rakea to play around, like, trying to stop sequence. Like, I probably, like, if my opponent waits for sequence to activate, then I could just chain Rakea and dodge, which I think is what happens here. If they would have just done it early, I could try to get the sequence back on field with Yama. Like, if I put it in graveyard, I could just have Yama revive it from grave and use its effect. So the question becomes, like, should they have tried to imperm it early? And it seems like in this case they should have. Here I always try and keep the Engravers in graveyard instead of the Links, because I'm not equipping them to anything, so I just need them to be there to be summonable again, because I have more Fiends fusions I could summon. So I don't... Now, alright, so we dumped Shrevara, we're going to set a trap card. By default, escape means you have, like, out the floodgates. Now the question becomes, do I go into Yama first, or do I go into Evil? So I'm going to go into Evil so that I can try and keep Rakea on the board, and then that way I can, like, use Rakea to to be popped and summoned from deck. I only have Decatron engraved, so banishing to mill doesn't really do anything. Like, I don't play 10 names for Anoku. Alright, so here I'm going to go into Yama, and if it resolves, I get to search for, like, Travar or Ruha, and I have cards to pop. Oh. This, I think, is just, like, a weird misplay. I chain block the Yama, I guess, to make sure the Yama goes through, but here I'm, like, playing into Ash Infirm. I probably should just make sure that the... I guess the Vanishment by itself doesn't do anything, because I don't have a card in my hand to discard. It's not hard to get cards into your hand to do the discards in other ways, by, like, setting up, like, a Soul of Rage and then popping it. Okay, here, I vaguely have... I've recorded, like, 6 videos so far, so I don't remember exactly what happened in these videos, but there's at least one of these videos where I forget which of these twins has been used, so I've just put Rikei into the graveyard, it just went there. And I do something weird, like, I feel like I just totally forgot that I just put the Rikei in the graveyard, so I brought it back to pop it, whereas what you're supposed to do is pop the trap card, set the trap card, and then pop the Rikei. So, I don't know what I did there, I just, like, totally misplayed and just, like, threw away Saratma's effect for no reason at all. It was just a blatant mistake. So we're going to go into Promethean Princess and send something with Decatron. I need to get a card in my hand to activate this Vanishment, so I have to find some way to make Rage or Anguish and then pop it to get a card back. I forget exactly how I plan to do that. I feel like I'm, like, struggling because of this. Or at least that's what happened at the time. One of the things I could do is I said Petrula, I can pop the trap card. Now, there's only one Fire Unchained in the deck. Alright, my opponent scooped, thankfully, because I was really, really not playing that correctly. So we have the dice roll going. Our opponent wins the dice roll, and they are probably going to elect to go first. If they're going second, then they're probably on Tempi. It says I'm going second, so they are choosing to go first. So we have 2 trap cards and Thrust and Dusters. Now, these are technically a lot of breakers, but cards that also don't do anything, so... Like, the trap cards without an Unchained don't do anything and I have to wait a turn. Well, they put 3 cards on board into Duster, so there's a chance that just using Duster wins the game instantly. Goodbye, cards. You still don't want to put things in front of their cards in case they have, like, a trap that responds directly to it, like Broken Line or something. Now we activate, like, the scariest card in the game, and they just scoop. So we're at 11 and 8. I may have missed one of the games as we went through here, so if the counter's off at the end, I'll try and fix it for next video. So our opponent has won the dice roll, and they are choosing to go second, so... They're on a 40-card deck, 15-card extra. They are starting with Engraver. Our hand is not great. We have Engraver to search track, which can trigger the Lurry, but I'm just searching the other Engraver, which doesn't really do anything in my hand. I have Dark Ruler. By itself doesn't do anything. I need to really wait for my draw to know how this is going to go. Alright, they're going to activate Tract and search a Fiend and discard a card, so they're going to go for Lurry. I don't know what end board they're going to go for at this point. Cards I want to draw could be like Thrust. Well, more like the cards I would want to search off Thrust, so Bonfire. Well, Bonfire could be okay here, because I'm probably going to normal summon the Lurry, so it's probably not preferable. Imagination could be good, depending on what board they end on. Like, Imagination beats Caesar, if people were going into Caesar with the Fiendsmith engine. Dark Ruler already beats most of the boards that people are going to be making. Grass would be wonderful to draw. Thrust for Grass could be good. An Unchained card doesn't do anything here, and Infernoid doesn't do anything here, so there's a lot of bad draws also. Ash and Maxi don't do anything for me here. So they've got 2 Engravers on the board. They could go into sequence and then fuse for Lacrima, or they could go straight for sequence. I mean, straight for Desiree. So they're going to fusion. Again, this is still the day of Beatrice, so Beatrice is still available in these games. So Lacrima is probably going to bring back the Engraver. And then they can probably overlay for for Beatrice. Alternatively, you can just use Track from Grave in this spot and then summon Sequence and puts the... summon Desiree, which puts the Sequence in Grave. Alright, so they go 4 monsters into Appaloosa. Now I have Dark Ruler, so Dark Ruler deals with Appaloosa, but what else am I going to have to contend with? That was all done off 1 card. I think it was 1 card. Alright, so they set 2. I don't really have like good plays here. Alright, I drew the card I need to search off my Engraver, which is not great. Because I'm not playing Sanct. Because I don't like Sanct to get stuck into the battle phase with like Light Fiends, I think. It might be Fiends in general, but it could be Light Fiends. Let me double check what Sanct says. We Dark Ruler them. They Ash my Track, which is not good. So Sanct locks you into not declare text for the turn except with Fiends. So most of my cards are Fiends, so I guess Sanct is something I should consider more as an alternative play. I elect to attack the Appaloosa now instead of triggering the Requiem. On the plus side, by drawing the Tract, there's still a Engraver in my deck to summon. But like, what am I going to do with the Engraver that's in my hand? I don't know. Now, Necroequip actually comes out the week after this was recorded, so if Necroequip was out and I played Necroequip, I could then put Engraver in the graveyard and go into something with it. But here I'm just passing. Because when you start with Tract, and you don't have Engraver in graveyard, it doesn't really do anything. Because we don't have Lacrima, we don't get 2 bodies off of summoning off of Requiem, we get 1. 1 body doesn't do anything. I had a normal summon my Lurie, so... Alright, so they're summoning back their Engraver, they get to go into their Requiem, and their Requiem can just summon from the deck. And then basically just mirroring my board, but they can send my guy to the graveyard, because they have the initiative here. But they also only playing with 1 body, and they still have 2 traps that didn't do anything last turn. So what are they going to do now? And they put the guy in defense, that's a good sign for me. So we're just like minusing each other turn tempo by just sending cards from field to graveyard over and over again. Like, okay spot to be in. Ah, Black Witch. So yeah. I just scooped here. So we are 11 and 9. Alright, opponents won the dice roll, and they are choosing to go first. They name themselves after a character from an anime. What anime is that? What was it called? Something to do with, like, Korea. It was, like, Seoul. Anyways. So they normal summon a Turia, dump Tree, and search for the spell. So they get Blessing off of dumping Sacred Tree off Camilla. They have King Sark, so they get to pitch a lot of cards in their hand to search for a bunch of level 8s. I recall this game. I recall this being a very good game. It's not going to be a stupid game, despite that I have just a bunch of breakers. They have a lot of boards set up here. I have Dark Ruler, which beats, like, Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast has always been, like, one of the scariest cards ever. Just because there's, like, so little you can do. Like, half decks are, like, spell, half decks are, like, monsters nowadays. So Mole Cricket's going to summon something from the deck, gets another Camilla. They have an 8 and a 4. That's a 12. I don't... What 12 can they summon? I think there's some Centurion cards, or... Alright, so they went for Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon gets Synchro Rumble. When people go into, like, Crimson Dragon, like, out of nowhere like this is, like, the time I tend to try and negate Crimson Dragon. Like, if the Crimson Dragon comes up before the Synchro, and they get the Synchro Rumble, it's usually because they need a Synchro Rumble to get to the Synchro play they need. Because here's another 12, so... Like, if you have, like, Ash, I don't mind stopping the Crimson Dragon. Now, they made a very interesting choice of Geomathematic Final Sigma, which in the EMZ is unaffected by card effects. Blazar is such a hard card to deal with because it's not once per turn, so when it comes back in the end phase, it can keep using its effect, and even if it is negated, it can just banish itself to cost, so we can't kill it, so on, like, the next turn, you have to deal with it again and again and again. The only card I know of that really deals with it is, oh, I think they said Blessing, if memory serves. So, if memory serves, Blessing is set, or they use Blessing. I forgot. Alright, so I'm going to start off by Dark Ruling, but let's say that was Blessing, and I did kill Nat Beast, and then they bring back Nat Beast, I just lose the game. So we opened, of course, our favorite Poplar, so we're going to activate Bonfire, search Ash, and then I can't even, like, summon the Ash. I gotta start with Poplar. And my opponent keeps getting asked if they want to use their Blazar, so they just get it out of the way. Which, of course, turns on my Thrust. Oh, they do have Thrust. Okay, I thought they used it in part of the combo somewhere. Now, I don't think any of these cards will let them Synchro on my turn. I know Camilla will let them, like, Tribute and Summon, and, well, that's on the field. They might be able to get the Mole Cricket. Mole Cricket can get the Sunflower. Sunflower's like a Monster Negate. Fortunately, I have mostly spells. And currently, I'm resolving the one monster effect of the cards I had to activate. So using both effects of Camilla. So there is Sunflower. And the question is, how do I deal with Sunflower? I could just attack Sunflower. I can see what I get off of all my spells here. Now here they actually opted not to do... oh, I think I just decided I win the game if they don't have a monster negate here with the Sunflower, so I think I opt for Dark Ruler. I think they were also playing a pretty big deck, so I don't think my grass was actually good in this particular matchup. So I just thrusted for Dark Ruler on a board I've already Dark Rulered, which might sound like a terrible play, but the goal was to not have to go into the battle phase before I start using my spells. They didn't use the Naturia Beast in response to the thrust before, but they really should be. If they can mill something that's productive, they should do that. So they're starting to mill some cards. I think there are some Naturia cards that come back. I know they do hit something at some point as I keep activating these spell cards. Like, I should consider really just, like, popping this Naturia Beast now so it can stop milling cards. But I'm like, what do they got in their deck that's going to be milled that's any good? Who knows? Alright, so I go for Patrula to make sure... I don't know. Do I go to... I forgot if I set it up to pop my card or to pop their back row. Probably pop my card. So they mill 2 Imperms off of Nat Beast, which is, of course, not a great mill for them. So, if you want to get access to both traps of the Unchained deck, you kind of want to, like, use Prison to search one so that the Shavara can search the other, and then you have access to both for the rest of the game, because the Sarama can always pick one up and set it. Alright, so in this case, going into Shavara is going to let us set a card, and Yam is going to search us Aruha to pop the card with. Now, Snake Eye Ash is, like, of course, our best discard for Void Banishment, so we're just going to, at some point, Void Banishment that. So Mole Cricket, if your opponent summons from the extra deck, can summon itself. So that was already in the graveyard. I think this one, like, tributes itself to, like, summon the one from deck or something. We'll see in a minute. Alright, so it specials. If I control the guy with the highest attack, it summons 2 guys from deck, but because they control Geomathematic Final Sigma, they only got to summon 1. Now this is forcing my battle phase. I will at some point just have to pop the board. The question is, like, how do I pop the board? Like, I currently control an extra deck monster, so I can't just Banishment for Tierra. Banishment for Imagination to send Tierra. To summon Tierra, and then Tierra can dump Evil to search the Void Feast. So I need the Escape on the board to out the Cosmic Blazar next turn, because it's going to come back. And basically every turn I'm forced to, like, waste a negate on the Blazar so they can try and push for game on the next turn. Because there's, like, one card I have in my deck that like, deals with Blazar, and it's Access Code Talker. So if I make Access Code Talker, I can, like, pop it where they can't activate it, and then it'll be gone. But that's not easy to, like, pull off. Alright, so we're going to summon from deck here. What do we want? I don't really want to, like, discard a card at the moment. So I have to find ways to deal with these cards on a more permanent basis. So Promethean can bring back Decatron. I haven't gotten to Harmodic yet, so Harmodic can pop a card. I don't think I've hit, like, a big Infernoid to banish to trigger Tierra, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, so I went for Sights Moss so I can summon the Sights Moss and trigger the trigger Flood to banish a card on the field. So we're going to summon Sights Moss and what card to banish? Can't get rid of Final Sigma because it's unaffected by card effects. It's been there just hanging out. I can get rid of Nat Feast on a more permanent basis, or I can get rid of the Mole Cricket. I elected to get rid of Nat Feast. I don't think there was a mathematical, sensible choice reason over that. Like, why pick that over something else? So we're using Rikea, and I could possibly use the, what do you call it? Here I just summon an Unchained Soul. Oh no, why would I do that? I discard a card. I guess I really do want to clear all these cards, but now I don't have a discard for the Beast. So I'm leaving a 6 on board to go into Caesar. I forget exactly why I did that. Alright, so going into Requiem, Requiem is going to summon the Engraver. Engraver can send off the Camilla, and then their board is clear. I have Escape. I need a card on field to pop with Escape. I can go into... I need to leave an Unchained on the field, so I'm probably going to leave... oh, Sequence. What am I doing with Sequence? Oh, I left Shavara on the field so that I can use it to pop a Rage, so I can add a card back to hand, I think. Oh, I'm summoning Evil, and I'm going to link off. So by linking off Evil, I can just add the Feast to hand. Like, one of the funnier ways to get Feast to hand is to make Rage and then use Rage to summon SP, and use SP to banish Evil from the graveyard. So there's Soul of Rage. We're getting Feast this way. I have to resolve the Feast before the... after trying to threaten the Blazar. And this play of breaking the board took a while, because they just had a lot going on there. What do I do with this? Do I bother to make Anguish, or do I save Anguish for later? I think I opt to just save it, because I might need it later. Alright, so here comes Blazar. They're drawing to one card. None of their cards in the graveyard technically do anything except for the Naturia card. I think the Mole Cricket brings itself back. Play special from the extra deck. Alright, so Blazar to attack position. Oh. I have to so yeah, I have to force this out. And it banishes itself as cost, so I can't just chain Rage and try to deal with it that way. So the question becomes, do I fire off the Feast before they reveal the card in their hand, or after? So they're going Battle, so Rage by itself doesn't really do anything here, so them killing Rage just protects a special summon card. So I'm going to let them kill Rage, and then I feel like in the battle phase I should use the... I think I should use Feast in the battle phase in case they have talents. They haven't currently activated an effect in the main phase. Alright, so... I'm adding back Sarama for my play for next turn. I activate Feast in battle. I don't have a lot of time left, so I basically just have to set up 3 negates for the 3 cards that they're going to get on board. Or the 2 negates in the DD Crow, because currently the Mole Cricket's something I can banish from grave, I guess. I don't know if it triggers here. Got 16 seconds left. So we send 1 Inoku, 1 Deviati. They have 1 card in hand. They can't really do anything. They've already normal summoned. I mean, they haven't normal summoned. They're about to normal summon. Oh, they set a card. Okay, so what are they going to do here? Blazar is still a threat. I have to deal with Blazar somehow. I don't have an Unchained in play, which is a problem. Alright, so I think I do this just to make an Unchained. Will they negate the summon of Yama? Will they allow the summon of Yama? I think this triggers the Mole Cricket in graveyard to come back, and I think that's something I forgot about, that how Mole Cricket comes back, because I know it does show up. And negating it doesn't really help me because they have Blazar. I attribute itself knowing that if they do negate with Blazar, I'm just going to get, negated. I mean, I'm just going to lose the body. So I leave the other Decatron to tribute the sequence instead. Also, I was trying to play around like Called By. So I add back... Oh. Alright. I add back from Grave the Abominable Unchained Soul. Currently I have discard for it, because I'm not going to fusion summon again. At least not with Imagination. So Sarama set Chamber, pop to summon from deck. This allows me... I could Chain Block, but they don't have like Ash at this point. So we're going to summon, and we'll try and pop a card from their graveyard. I think the idea is here is no matter what they summon out of the deck off Mole Cricket, if something's a threat, I just pop it off of Abominable. And I just need a card to crash with Geomech Final Sigma, and Unchained Soul does that. So Naturia Cricket comes out here. If they have two guys to summon, I can only kill one. If they have one guy, it just dies. Which is, I think, basically what I think happens. I'm pretty sure they only have one guy to summon left. So another Mole Cricket, another Mole Cricket. So just two Mole Crickets. So while it wasn't a Mole Cricket, really, I was worried about. Oh. Okay. So I think I just... Because the Blazar is gone, I think I just throw Anguish at them now. Now I just have to attack per game, basically. Oh, this is something I should have just negated. I don't even know what it did. It attributed that to do something. I didn't really read it well. I'm like, whatever, it won't do anything important. So it summoned Camilla, and I'm like, I don't care about Camilla. So it's sending a Naturia card to grave, it sent the tree, and the tree is going to add a card, and them getting a card in hand didn't matter, so I'm like tributing now. So I should have just done it before, and they would have had an open board. So I kind of just like risked myself losing to like a time issue. So I'm pretty sure it's just access code pop the Camilla, then I crash the... Yeah, I really started spazzing out there as I got rid of my Yama, which I would never actively do here. So we're just going for game. I just have to summon back a 3000 monster or something big enough to end the game. I think I just bring back Promethean Princess because it's like easy to click. Oh, not even. I picked up the Anguish. So we're just attacking for game. And I got 3 seconds, so I'm about to lose with like 1 second on the clock. Go, 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 go. Oh, okay. There we go. 0 seconds on the clock. Victory achieved. Alright. So here we go. To win the dice roll, we get to choose to go first. Let's see if our hand is any good. Well, we have Banishment. Our opponent activates Fulos. We are not summoning anything, so that doesn't do anything, but I did open double Inoku, which means I can't make a spell trap negate. So we're just going to discard an Inoku, I guess. We'll get Feast, and then the question is, what do I set turn 1? Just getting hard hit with a hand trap. I can thrust for something. Like, thrust was really like a backup if they tried to stop the... Alright, I go for Chamber. It's a card that can get popped next turn and get me some value. But the idea of pitching the Inoku... The thrust was really going to search the Feast if they stop me from searching for the Feast, but theoretically you should always negate the Void Feast instead, because it sends the Banishment at cost. Activate Maxi, they activate Ash. I don't see a reason to chain the Void Feast. Now, I think I just lose to something like Dominus Impulse, which hopefully they're not on. Why did I wait? I don't think I had a reason to wait to use this here. Oh, they're on Goblin Biker. I recall this being a pretty good game also. And I think I have the biggest problems with this game are just from waiting now. Like when am I going to use this? Because all I can do is set up monster negates, so I didn't know what monsters they were going to be on before I started this. I figure I can hit like a link at a good point. I think I got a little nervous at Zeoman and what they're going to summon off of this. They got Foxy Tune. They go for Cicada King, so they have a negate at this point. Not sure why exactly I fired this off now. Like, maybe I should have waited. So I'm summoning the 2 Decatrons and the Sajet, and we're going to send 2 Deviatis, I guess. Or one of the things you do is if they're trying to negate a card, you could like tribute it with the Sajet so that it's not on the field. And then I could just send something else since that Decatron wouldn't do anything. So Cicada Chink's trying to negate the Decatron, so I just tribute the banish a card in their graveyard. I figure I go for the Goblin Biker because most of these like detach from something on the field and summon themselves, so I don't. This is one of them that does that, so that is why I did it. This way, this Decatron can also send like Sajet instead. Not Sajet, Sightsmouse. So I don't have to send Deviati here. So I'm sending for Chainlink 2, so that's the one I just distributed. Chainlink 1, I'll send to Deviati. So I have 1 monster negate. I've used my DD Crow. I have Chamber on the field, so this is like an all Infernoid hand. You don't really want all Infernoid hands, they don't do anything by themselves. Attack of Tom Brady is here. Just going to attack over my guy, and then they can do their combo. Now, I am not familiar with Goblin Biker combos, because no one I know plays this deck, and I've not seen it on the ladder. So they can special a Goblin from the deck, but it can't pack. So they have Goblin Bikers Gone Wild. Let's see. When it's normal, it does something. Summon one from the deck, and this one from the deck. Okay. So this is going to add a Goblin from the deck, and then detach 1. And when detached, something might trigger. They opt not to detach. Alright, so now they have a card in hand to summon off of to discard for Bhakti Tune, so they go for another Zeon. So I guess they're just using the punks as level 3s, so maybe they just don't have a good enough use for the, what do you call it? The Deer Note. So Big Gabonga is going to search. That's Doug, right? So Doug will detach 1 and summon. And they go into Moon, and now we have to deal with Fiendsmith stuff. And they've eaten my chamber, so my little follow-up I got out of that, the rest has just been eaten. For materials attached from this card, you can attach a card on the field. So they're going to go into Moon, into Requiem, into Engraver. These will go into Sequence, and then Sequence will summon... they're going for rank 6. There are rank 6s in the Goblin Biker deck, so they could just go for one of their cards right away. Lacrima brings back Engraver, overlay for a 6. I'm pretty sure they do go for the other Goblin Biker 6, I forget what it's called. Crazy Beast, which I know it patches like spell traps. It says if a monster you control is destroyed, you can attach material from this card instead, which I recall being like a big pain when I played this match. Like, things just kept getting detached. So a lot of these cards keep detaching and then reattaching. So there's my Chamber Engraved, which means Sarama's now at play, because I can set it and pop it. They've got this guy back on the field. And we have a 4-material Appaloosa versus Big Gabonga, taking some damage off of Lacrima. Crazy Beast is attaching to summon itself, but then attaches a guy? Interesting. I gotta read these Goblin Bikers. A lot of my cards lose to Appaloosa, so I have to try and beat Appaloosa in battle. Like, that's like the stress. Like, what do I summon? I can just like try and... I think I go to just keep trying to banish the cards in the graveyard, because they can like trigger the Goblin. Oh no, they keep triggering it, so I might as well tribute myself, is what happens. Alright, so I summon Sightsmouse to have a card that can really respond at like more appropriate moments, so I go to banish their card. A lot of these Goblin Biker cards say that they can only be summoned once per turn, not that they can only be activated once per turn. So if they Appaloosa me, they can still try. They have to complete their summon, so they come onto the board. so now they have a full board. I'm like, oh, they can't summon anything now. But apparently this guy just attaches the cards that were just getting detached, so. So what do we do now? Still dealing with Appaloosa. Goal is to try and leave the right Infernoids engraved, so I opt to leave the Decatron, because maybe I'll get it back in play. Through, like, Promethean Princess or something. Are they going to detach again? Like, trying to figure out what's happening here. I don't want to put a spell on the field, because I know the Crazy Beast deals with it. Alright, so I didn't get to the battle phase, so forced the tribute again. Then the game ends in a second because of an unpredictable misplay. Because one of these goblin cards, like, reduces attack. Which is something I didn't predict or catch. Also, this guy protects their cards from being banished. I think I attack into an attack position monster is like the big misplay here. Because if I attack into... So he's going to reduce my attack by like 2,000 or something, which makes me like weaker than Appaloosa. If I attacked into the defense position goblin, I have the ability to, at the end of the battle phase, threaten the Appaloosa, then he negates that and I keep an extra body, then my Fiendsmith Engraver actually does something. So currently my Engraver doesn't do anything because Appaloosa just negates, and they opted not to negate my Sights Mouse. And even if it did, what was I really going to do here with the Engraver by itself? Engraver by itself does not do anything without Necroequip, which again doesn't come out till next week. So we are at 12 and 10 here. We are going first, and our hand is bad. Like, I could set Sarama as the alternate good play. Like, those are the two plays. It was set Sarama or normal Decatron for a play. And I think that's the end of my turn. See what my opponent does. Normal Sylvie. Just confirming what card they search, I think, before I scoop it up, because I've determined that Sylvie, if it resolves, is basically like full White Forest combo, White Forest Fiendsmith combo, so I don't think I'm going to be able to come back from this, so we're probably going to scoop it up in a second. I think I was waiting to see what LZ searches off of its Synchro Summon, like if it searches Wanted, like I'm probably doomed. So I'm not really like fully paying attention to all my games when I'm actually playing them. I'm like watching TV and stuff. So that's why I'm recording these after the fact, the commentary. Because I wasn't like going to give good commentary while I was playing. They grab Scourge of the White Forest, which it's like a negate. And they're getting back Dark Ruler. So currently they haven't shown me that they're on the standard Azamina Snake Eye list, so I haven't scooped yet, I think, for that reason. They add Deception, and that's where my scoop point was. And going forward, I'll probably be scooping on those. So we are now 12 and 11. Alright, so we're going second. We have Maxi. We activate. Do we win the minigame? And it gets ashed. So now we have to hope that our 5-card hand can beat a full board. See what they do. Math Mech. I don't think I can beat Math Mech through a full board with these cards. So we will see what they do. So Circular Dump Sigma, Sigma summons to trigger Circular to search Superfactorial, overlay for Alimbertion to search for Diameter. And then pretty much they play out their combo at this point. So Diameter, summon back Circular. What do they go into here? There's like a new version of the combo. I'm used to the old version, which was like into Cyber's Wicked. Now they go into Splash Mage. I think this is a little different because they try to go into Terahertz. Ah, they opened Parallel Exceed, so one Parallel Exceed into another Parallel Exceed. 3 materials for a Laplacian. So they turn 1 Laplacian, which is an unusual play to do. They hit my Decatron, which is a card I can banish to summon the Petrula, but I don't know what to do with that. It also means that they're not going to hit 3 cards on the next turn unless they're on 2 Loplation, which is not common. So they bring back Circular and then go into Decoder, so they can link into a Link 4. Firewall? Oh no. Oh, they went into the Link 3, which then brings back the Decoder. Then they're going to bring back Splash Mage. I'm pretty sure this just goes for the Terahertz in a minute. Okay, Heat Soul. Heat Soul, they get to draw 2 cards over the course of the next turn or so. There's addition. Oh, there was subtraction. Alright, so here is Firewall, Dragon, Terahertz. So this is going to dump in the end phase so it doesn't get Veilered. Deceive Worm, turning off my spell cards. There's definitely, like, I play a couple of these matches, and a couple of them are played better and worse than others, so this might be one where I had more things to do. Maybe, not sure. Okay, I think I was, like, hooking at the time. I wasn't fully paying attention to their play once I got my Max C stopped. Alright. So, basically they've drawn a card off of Decode Talker. I don't know why they haven't done it again. They have a Spell Trap Negate. I'm trying to get them to use it here so that Rust goes through and I can, like, search for something that's more productive, like grass or something. But they opt not to respond to this spell. I can't activate monster effects in the battle phase, so I can't, like, crash these guys. So I can summon Sajet, or I can summon Petrula. Petrula I can threaten the back row. I'm not sure why I opt for Sajet over. I guess this gives me the option to DD Crow the... I summon this because it gives me the option to DD Crow the Diameter, which is what I think I do here. Not that this really accomplishes anything. Because the Diameter is going to make it so that any card I try to stop doesn't do... like, I really need to stop the Deceive Worm, but this is not going to work. So I get rid of Diameter. I think they have to go into... If they have anything to summon, it's another Allen Version, which just sets them up for next turn, which doesn't really do anything. Wait, they don't link? That's odd. Alright, yeah, I just scoop anyway, because Deceive Worm beats the Thrust, and the Terrors beat the battle phase. So we're 12 and 12, or even again. Going second, I opened Sajet, which is a brick, but it's not the worst hand, so they're on Millennium. I assume this is like Millennium Snake Eye, using these in the back row for Doom Dragon. So the Golem gets the Wenju Temple, the Wenju Temple gets the Sen Engine, the Sen Engine gets, I think, another Sen Engine. So this puts something in the back row along with Millennium. So it puts, what is that? Looks like a Infernoid Knight and a Millennium Shield. The Shield can get the Ankh. So he's at 4,000 life points. Oh, there's like some crazy Infernoble deck I had to play against during the ladder. I assume this is it. And, like, my hand's not, like, bad. Oh, and they have Ash, too. I probably should have just scooped this up, but, I'm pretty sure I made, like, reasonable efforts to play. And their turn is, like, really long. So, like, by the end of their turn, I'm like, if I just play at a slightly slow pace myself, maybe they'll run out of time. But it's a pretty cool combo. So they sent Turpin with Ash to grab Poplar. Forgot what they grabbed off of, I think they grabbed Bernard off of Snake Eye Ash, which makes sense. Oak brings back Ash, and then they're going to start summoning from the deck. So sending Wenju Temple, which has no use at this point in the turn, for Flameburge Dragon. Flameburge can put something in the back row now, probably won't till later, because they're going to want to bring it back off Promethean Princess, and then maybe put IP in the back row. Maybe these are going to IP or something. Oh, they're into a Ferocious Flame Swordsman. So they bring back Ash and Oak. And they're going to go into, my guess is Promethean, but, oh no, they're going to Isolde. So, I'm probably skipping some plays, because I think I've determined that their board is just a little crazy. There's Appaloosa, they go for anything. They get to do Charles, they get to do SP, so they have 2 spell trap negates, I think, off of oh, they're gonna attach the ring, I think. So Angelica's ring is like negates a spell, but if I play it against with imagination, it'll just kind of negate itself. Charles is a spell negate. Then it has a pop, which is like the problem I think here. So they have 4 monster negates, they have SP, and then they have a monster negate off of Gearfried. Alright, so they try to... what happened? I think they negate the activation of the Vanishment so that it doesn't waste the Angelica's ring, which is preferable for me. The problem is that they can just trigger the Renaud in Graveyard, or then the Captain Roland in Graveyard to trigger the Charles to pop the Imagination. There's always a chance they don't know what it is. Like half of them, a lot of my wins are people not knowing how to deal with Imagination. Like, so Roland's going to equip to Gearfried, and then that'll trigger the... So the auto spell negate went through, so I've wasted the auto spell negate, but now, because the card was equipped, the Charles will just pop the Imagination, and then that's basically the end of the game. I do have like 1 more play to make. It doesn't really accomplish anything. Then it is up to my opponent. I think I came to the conclusion that their turn took so long that there's no way they have a lot of time left. So I'll just play a little slowly and see. Maybe I'll get a fluke time win. And it does not appear that I've accomplished that. So, set chamber, activate, Shavara, activate again. They also only have 2,800 life points. I'm like, not that hard to like sneak in some damage. Not with the hand I have, though. I need to draw something a little better for turn, I think. Went for battle phase again, see if I can waste their time, and then they just attacked the game. So, I stalled them a little bit. Just thinking it might be the only way to win the game. And I sat through that unskippable cutscene at that point. Alright, so we're winning the dice roll, we're going first. We're at 12 and 13, so we're actually in the negatives now. We are under 50% win rate, which is not good. Open double bonfire. Use bonfire to search for... If we search for Ash, we lose less to Droll. But I don't have a play off of this. Oh, they have Droll, so I made a better play, I guess, in a technical sense. We're gonna set escape and hope we live. We have Ash as like something to counter our opponent. They've got Duster, so this can summon something from deck. So we have a defense here, but not a good defense. Again, I have to start summoning these guys and attack opponent. So I always go for Aruha. Did defense again. So I did Aruha, but it should really be like Aruha, then Rakea, then Sarama, because the goal is to try and end on Sarama if we have to. Alright, so they are on Ice Barrier. So they started off with Mirror Mage, and then I forgot what that one's called, Speaker. So you're going to summon a bunch of tokens. And there's a good chance we don't like die to Ice Barrier instantly. So they have a level 8 setup. They went for Coral Dragon. And I figured they might need this card, so I ash it. I'm not sure exactly what the play is, because this is not the normal Ice Barrier combo. But they have Call By, so it's irrelevant of what I used the Ash on. They were going to Call By it anyway. No, I'm just hoping to live. So they get wins. Wins contribute some guys to summon guys from the deck. So they tribute 2 for 2. I think they get, I forgot what these guys are called. They got Spellbreaker, which is just like anti-spell, and they got the other one that summons Georges, which negates my monster effect in the graveyard. So I figure there's a chance I live just because I don't look like, it doesn't look like they're going to have the damage necessarily to beat me, but then they start doing some more stuff I wasn't prepared for. So here's Lancia. You have to draw a card here. And if they can discard an Ice Barrier card, then they can prevent me from playing spells next turn, then I automatically lose the game. Gorgeous is a tuner, so they can make another level 10. They are probably waterlocked, so what are they going to summon? I wasn't expecting Chen Ying, but if they kill my guy and summon another guy, I die. And they have... Oh, they're going to summon a token. So that allows him to banish from my grave and my field, so I'm very close to death. And there's Gorgeous, but it summons in defense. Yes, it's in defense. No, it's a tuner. It summons level 10s. This is just Ijarine, I think. Alrighty, I think we are at our rank down game of the video. Let's see what we can do here. The question becomes, like, what could I do better? And there were points that there were things I could have done better. Not a lot of them. Some were just not reading cards, like the Goblin Biker card. Like, if I realized I was going to lose attack, I would have definitely attacked the defense position monster. It's like one of the tricks to Sight's Moss is to not attack position monsters. They're on Blue Eyes, and Blue Eyes, basically I lose the game if I don't have, like, Dark Ruler in play. There's a good chance I can get to Dark Ruler with the rest. So they normaled Sage. Sage sent Maiden to get True Light. They discarded a Bestial to trigger Wishes. Wishes is going to search for Majesty and Sage. Oh, by the way, at the time of this video, we are in Master 5. So just so you know, we will be getting there. The question is just how long and how do the games go? Do I learn a lot? Do I start listening to myself? I think I learn more from the commentary than I do from the playing, so hopefully going forward I start putting Aruha in attack position. So they get Mausoleum, they can trigger and summon Blue Eyes, which bring back Maiden. They'll get to summon their level 9 Synchro. Things like Synchro Rumble is just like a really good card to play, just because like it brings back the light. Let me read Synchro Rumble again. It brings back a level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro. Okay, no. If it could just bring back the, what do you call it? The spirit, then, you know, one spirit would get 2 spirits in a way. So here comes Spirit Dragon. The Synchro Rumble can bring back... you bring back Blue Eyes, get another spirit. This is the 2 level 12, which is the Ultimate Spirit Dragon plus Cipher. Generally the end board of Blue Eyes at the moment. The Primite stuff comes out in the next couple of games after this video. Now, my question is, why don't they spirit... Oh, they're doing it on the end phase. Things to deal with, like, Baylor. But, is there a reason to do it on their turn versus my turn? I guess their turn they're playing around, like, Thrust. So it should be Ultimate Spirit Dragon, and then Cipher, which protect both of them. Well, they both try to be destroyed during the end phase, and then Cipher protects the cards from destruction. And I've drawn both Ash and Oak at the same time. I can use Track to pitch the chamber and try and bring it back with this Sarama. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this. They have Majesties also. Add Lurie, and do I discard Lurie or do I discard Chamber? I discarded Lurie, thinking it's a card in the graveyard. They can't necessarily negate it. They don't have a Bestial that they can summon while I don't have a monster on the field. They don't have an effect on the field that negates a graveyard effect. Will they try to wait to see what my deck does before negating, like, the Fiendsmith cards? So they just Majesty and pop Lurie. Should I have set my Chamber first? Maybe they would have popped it 2. That's the thing I could have done differently. I could have just set the Chamber, because I was never going to use it in hand. Here they just negate me, and I think that's the end of the game. I set the Chamber now, thinking that they could pop it, because I think Cipher negates a monster and then destroys a card in the field, or it might be Spirit Dragon. So they've used a monster effect. I could use Thrust. Pretty sure Spirit Dragon just negates a card that activates on the field and then gains attack. Yep, and that is that. So, welcome back to Diamond 5. Let us try and work forwards until we get to Master 1. So, let's see what we can do here. So, we are currently at 12 and 15, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.